Hi guys. So I'm finally filming my Get to Know Me Through Astrology, the fourth house video. I really left that off to the last second. Like, wow, I can't believe it's already Leo season. And I'm like, shit, I still didn't do my Cancer video for Get to Know Me for the fourth house. And I was like, maybe, currently I'm working on a birth chart analysis for my friend. And I was like, this is the goodest time as any, always got to take little breaks and stuff like that. But, yeah, I don't really know. Well, I guess I've kind of been busy, and that's why, I have kind of a lot going on for the month of August. So, I am going to be filming my Cancer video and my Leo video back to back. So right after I film this one, I'm probably going to film my Leo one, either later today or tomorrow, but I'm definitely going to do it soon because I'm going to be out of the country for a month. Okay. I'm going to go visit a bunch of family in Serbia, and we're going on a little road trip, me, my brother, and my sister. We're going to go visit the World War II memorials they are these giant, amazing sculptures, structures, monuments that were built during Tito's presidency of former Yugoslavia. It was communism. And after World War II was over, they built these structures in memory of, the people who died and the rebellions and the fight for survival. And they are just these amazing structures. They're very moving to me. Like, they're very artistic in nature and very powerful in their symbolism. This is an astrology video, so I'm actually thinking about doing I'm thinking about doing a vlog, like a video of my trip. So I'm going to see, what kind of photos and videos I'm able to gather during my trip, because I definitely want to be in the moment as well. I don't want to be too distracted by a camera, but you're definitely welcome to follow me on Instagram. I'll probably post stuff every once in a while on Instagram, and so if you're interested in following me and my journey through the Balkans, we're going to be in Serbia, Bosnia, and Croatia. So you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, I might try to do like a little vlog. We'll see though. No promises. I'll see. I've never really done a travel vlog before, so, but I do know that I want to take, of course, pictures, and I do want to film a little bit. So, but like I said, I don't want to be like distracted by the camera. So anyway, yeah, so that's the update. So that's why I need to do this Cancer fourth house video, and I need to do the Leo video. The August tarot readings and astrology readings, those are already set in stone. That's like, that's still happening. Mid-August, my mid-August tarot readings is going to be kind of tricky. That's going to be tricky. It's going to be interesting to see if I'm able to, I'm going to try really hard to do the mid-August tarot readings, whether here before I leave or over there while I'm there. It just kind of depends. So I'm kind of leaving that a little bit more like up to fate and up to time and how much time I have. But August readings are done, and the September readings will be up as well. So anyway, yeah, so that's kind of the update on my life. Okay, fourth house, Cancer, shit. Okay, get to know me through astrology. Oh my God. There's actually so I'll tell you a little bit about the fourth house. Okay, so the fourth house is going to represent, and that's actually really interesting that I just kind of told you about my trip and everything, because that is where my family is from. Those are my roots. My great uncle was the very first person in my family to come to America, and he started a business. It's an engineering company, which my father currently still works at, and it's been under cycles of new management. So it does not belong to my great uncle anymore. They sold it. But yeah, my dad still works for the company that my great uncle started here in America. And I was actually the very first person in my family that was born in America. So I guess that makes me, what, second generation? I always thought that if you were born here, if you're the first to be born here, that makes you first generation. But then people started telling me that first generation is the immigrant parents that came here and established citizenship, that they're known as first generation. And I'm technically second generation. So we'll just go off of that. So I guess I'm just second generation. So yeah, so it was my great uncle was first, and then my grandfather from my dad's side, and then my grandfather from my mom's side. So yeah, I mean, I guess I can keep telling you a little bit more about the story of my parents immigrating here, because it does theoretically have a lot to do with fourth house, because the fourth house is going to represent, like, you know, your family, your home, your roots, your, like, you know, how you were brought up, and, you know, history, and like it can get so deeply rooted, Cancer energy, because, you know, Cancer does represent the home and the roots, and, like, you know, those like family traditions, those family values, like the security and stability of having a home and family and all that type of stuff. So this is kind of going to be an interesting video, cause, like, you know, the way that I relate to my family's story and history, like, I feel such a close connection to it and such a deep connection to it, cause even though I was born here, I was raised in Yugoslavia. Like, after I was born, my parents took me over there, and I was raised by my grandma and grandpa and aunts and uncles. Like, I was there a lot as a kid. Serbian was my first language. They lived in a small town in Croatia, and they were Serbs. And it is really interesting because I have Aries on my fourth house cusp, okay? And Aries is ruled by Mars. So Mars rules my fourth house, and Mars is also known to be the god of war and aggression and all that type of stuff. And my family's history has been a lot of war. And, like, you know, I would go there every summer in the 80s. I was born in 1983, and I went there a lot over the summer. And like I said, it was my first language, and I was very close to my cousins and everything. And then the war broke out around 1990, okay? There was a lot of problems after, like, Tito died, the leader. And then there was a war, the Yugoslav wars, okay? And it broke up this, like, giant country that consisted of multiple ethnicities and religions and people from different backgrounds. They spoke similar language, definitely. But there was a lot of discrepancies as far as, like, ethnic and religious concerns, and definitely, you know, a lot of, like, tug and war between the East and the West, you know, like the American, European influence, the Russian, Asian influence, kind of like pulling things apart as well. And yeah, so throughout the whole 90s, there was a war. Okay, so that's definitely fascinating because I'm very much, like, I was very much affected by that, you know, as a child. Like, I was very much affected by what was going on over there, even though, like, I was here. And when things did subside in Yugoslavia and it kind of, like, dimmed down a little bit, like, I still remember my father, like, taking us out there, and, like, he did not shy away necessarily from things still being a little, like, turbulent. And I was exposed to, you know, like, my family having to, like, hide out in, like, abandoned schools and there being a lot of military on the ground and, you know, like soldiers protecting areas. And so it's just kind of like crazy, you know, like just kind of thinking about all that. And so I do have a very strong kind of like compassion, and I have a strong sense of understanding, I guess you can say, and a strong sense of, and like a deeper connection to the conflict within me. And I think, you know, maybe because I have that Aries in my chart, you know, that Mars energy. So I don't actually have any planets in my fourth house whatsoever. I have an asteroid. I have the asteroid Juno in my fourth house, which is so interesting to me. Like, I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Because Juno is one of 4 asteroids that was discovered in the early 1800s, and they represent different feminine energies within us, and Juno represents sacred union. So, like, it's supposed to mean, like, what is it that you look for in a partner, right? Like, what is it that is important to you in another individual? And, like, one of the biggest things that I noticed when I'm in relationships is, like, I want the person to fight for me. Like, I want to feel like I'm going to be protected if shit hits the fan. Like, so I find that really fascinating because I have Juno in Aries in my fourth house. So it's like I need to feel like my sacred partner, I want to feel connected to them and bonded to them in a way that makes me feel like I'm protected. Because there's a deep part of me that's very protective as well. Like, I feel very protective over my partner. So I want like the same in return. And it's like, if shit hits the fan, I feel like I would fight for them. Like, I would fight for them, whether it's verbally or like physically, like if it ever got to that point. So I just think that that's crazy. You know, I mean, Aries and Mars, yeah, like they are known to be ruled by war and all that. Like, Aries is known to be very much a sign that's not afraid of conflict, okay? Aries is probably the most confrontational of the zodiac signs, and they need a little bit of conflict in their relationships. Aries needs, like, they need to feel that fire. They need to feel that, like, that fire is burning, that it's like, you know, that you're fighting for them, that you're like willing to do what they are willing to do for you. Like, they need to feel like you're willing to, you know, like cause a little friction with the relationship, because it's almost like it tests the relationship in a new way to see like how far you're willing to go for that person. So yeah, that has definitely been like a bit of a challenge for me when I find myself involved with someone who's not like that at all. It's kind of like, what's wrong with you? Like, I don't know, like, it has taken a lot of growth and evolution and like understanding who I am and how I am and why I am the way I am to understand that, like, where that's coming from, to understand why I want that from people and why that I expect that from people. Because there's like a deeper thing of there's like a deeper issue of abandonment as well, especially because here, even though all that was going on in Eastern Europe, here in America, there was still war and kind of like conflict even within my home, because like my parents got divorced. There was a lot of issues between my mom and my dad. You know, I remember like my home life, like when my mom got custody of us, like I just remember my home environment. Like I just felt like everything was always like, there was always like, I felt kind of like my mother was always at war with us or with me or with herself, you know? And so it's just so interesting to think about that now and to talk about that now looking at my chart, right? So yeah, like so if you have Aries in your fourth house, you might be able to relate. There was probably a lot of conflict and a lot of just like that fire, you know, there was like a lot of fights, there was probably a lot of fighting in your home or some sort of, it doesn't necessarily have to be like between parental figures. It could be like with siblings or something to that effect. But it did kind of feel like there was always some kind of like fight that needed to happen. So that's super interesting. And the other way that you can kind of like dissect your fourth house. So like I said, I have Aries ruling my fourth house, which is Mars, which is ruled by Mars. So you can take a look to see where you have Mars in your chart. And I have Mars in my ninth house, okay? So like that can tell you a little bit more about what's kind of going on there. So I have Mars in, like perhaps like how you dealt with the situation. Like I have Mars in my ninth house in Libra. So like, even though this stuff was happening, and even though like internally on the inside, there was a lot of like there was just a lot of deeper kind of emotions going on within me. I do remember like I didn't really talk about it too much. Like I didn't really, like I know I fought with my mom, but I didn't necessarily like talk about some of my deeper feelings. So with Mars in the ninth house, like the ninth house represents like higher learning, philosophy, belief, long distance travel. So it's almost like I preoccupied, like it's like channeling that energy into like a higher meaning or like a higher purpose, right? Or like trying to understand things from like a bigger picture. And as I got older and I started to become more interested in like what was happening over there and why, like I wanted to gain information. I wanted to be educated. I wanted to have knowledge. And I like started creating my own philosophy and, you know, like perspective and stuff like that. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. And I had like such an intense drive with that Mars, intense drive to like understand. And anytime I did go, like even after the war ended, whenever I would go to Serbia and go visit family, like I would always ask my cousins questions and my grandparents, and I was eager to listen and to understand better so I can like, because like I love my family and I, you know, and I care about them, and they were my you know, like growing up, that was who I spent time with. And so it was like important for me to intellectualize everything. Cause like during the war, I was like 12 years old, you know what I mean? So at that age, unless somebody actually takes the time to kind of explain things to you, like you don't really know what's going on. You just know that shit's going on, you know? Like the only thing I really remember is like, you know, my dad on the phone trying to get through to somebody. You know, sometimes he would have to wait for hours. Sometimes he wouldn't get through to anybody. You know, and like, oh, he would always be stressed out. And like my mom was like, oh my God, like she was going through, like she was a mess. So it was just like a lot of like, even though all this was happening over there, it was affecting all of us, my family here, like on a deeper level, and it was affecting our home and it was affecting the environment within the home. So there you have that. And then, like I said, with Juno, I have Juno there, which represents the sacred union and what you look for in a partner. So it's kind of like, you know, I've always found myself having like conflict with my partners, especially if I felt like they didn't fight for me, or like, you know, that was always kind of like a problem for me until I started to understand why I was like that. So yeah. So that's the fourth house, guys, okay? I'm not gonna spend too much more time. I feel like I kind of said everything I needed to say. The only other thing that I can add is that, and Cancer is ruled by the moon as well, so it definitely has to deal with like emotions and like, you know, chaos and just kind of like roller coaster of emotions going on as well. So, however, I do also have a little bit of Taurus energy in there. Okay, so Aries and Mars is ruling the 4th house, but then because I do use the Placidus house system, I have Taurus peeking in about like almost half. There's actually more Taurus than Aries. It's almost half and half. It's like 65-45, you know, 65% Taurus, 45% Aries. And then I have Taurus, and then Taurus rules my 5th house. So I'm going to do another video on my 5th house. I might just do it right now because it is Leo season. So it's like, fuck it. Yeah. So then like Taurus kind of finishes up the 4th house. And Taurus rules like security and stability and beauty and all that type of stuff. So there is still kind of this balance there in reference to like I still feel that very strong desire to feel stable in my home. Like I feel very much, especially now in my life, a strong pull and a strong need to just kind of like feel to create stability within my own home and within my own life, because I felt I didn't really have that as a child. Or at least not, it's not even that I didn't have it. Like I did have stability, but maybe like not the way I wanted it. There was a little too much chaos. And so I do feel like I've been channeling a lot of Taurus energy in the last like year or so. And I've been like really trying to, because I have no earth in my chart, and I've really been trying to just kind of like stabilize everything and like find beauty in my home and, you know, find beauty and comfort within my possessions and values and the stability that I can create for myself. So that's that, guys. Okay, so get to know me through astrology, the 4th house. That is my little video. Stay tuned for the next one. Get to know me through astrology, the 5th house. Let me know what you thought of this video. If you have any comments, questions, yeah, I'd be happy to chat. So until next time, hopefully you liked the video, and I'll see you later. Bye.